Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for sticking with me through that break. If you are just tuning in, we just finished talking about the Steelers, the AFC North, and their quarterback situation. Before that, we were talking some baseball. There was an attempted coup in the MLBPA. We talked all about that. We talked about Blake Snell getting signed to the San Francisco Giants on a 2-year, $62 million deal with opt outs after year one, what that means for the league, and what kind of implications it has been showing with Scott Boras and the entire MLB. Um, but to finish off our show, we are going to be talking about the New York Jets. They have completely revamped their offensive line. Just today, right before our show went live, they signed Mike Williams to a 1-year, $15 million deal uh, to be opposite of Garrett Wilson, another weapon for Aaron Rodgers in his comeback season. But before we get into the Jets, remember, if you'd like to be an even bigger part of the show than you already are, all you need to do is go to gsmcpodcast.net. Leave a tip or donation with a message. It'll pop up on the bottom of the screen there. We'll have a little discussion between you, me, and everybody else that's watching. Appreciate anything that you do give. Again, one more time, that link is gsmcpodcast.net. Leave a comment if you have any thing you'd like to add to the show. I'm keeping an eye on all of that as well. But like I was saying, we are going to talk about the new look Jets, especially the offensive line, because that was their big issue this last season. Aside from obviously the quarterback injury and having to start Zach Wilson for most of the season, they had maybe the worst offensive line in all of football. And what have they done this offseason? They got a future Hall of Famer who is still playing at an all pro level, excuse me, in Tyron Smith. And then they went out and they traded for Morgan Moses, also a really, really good tackle from the Ravens. They went out and signed John Simpson, a guard. So 3 out of the 5 positions are new. Elijah Vera Tucker is still there, and Joe Tippmann is still the center. So 3 out of 5 of the new Jets offensive line came from other teams, and they're big upgrades, huge upgrades. They need to protect Aaron Rodgers. He is almost 40 years old, coming off an Achilles injury. So that's huge move for them. And then the other big move for them today, Mike Williams. Obviously, he got cut from the Chargers for cap reasons. He has signed a 1-year deal with the Jets, opposite of Garrett Wilson, and I think that is a perfect fit for him. I think the Jets with Aaron Rodgers are a great fit for him because he is that prototypical run past you, big wide receiver. He's going to get those jump balls. He's going to win those 50-50 balls. Aaron Rodgers is a great 50-50 ball thrower, especially when he trusts you. He's going to trust you to go up and make those catches, and Mike Williams can go up and make those catches down the sidelines. He did that all the time for the Chargers, Justin Herbert, and Phillip Rivers earlier in his career. It's This Jets offense is going to be really good. You have a healthy Breece Hall, you have a healthy Aaron Rodgers, you have a healthy Garrett Wilson, Mike Williams. You still are kind of lacking at wide receiver 3, but that's not a huge deal right now. From the depth charts I'm looking at, it looks like it's going to be Alan Lazard there. Tyler Conklin is a really solid tight end, and we just ran through the offensive line. It is a really fun team. They obviously, a lot of this depends on health because a lot of these guys are older. A lot of these guys are injury prone. So you take a look at take a look at this team on paper, and it looks a lot better than it probably will be. But having that on paper look, especially for a team like the Jets that were so atrocious last season after Aaron Rodgers went down, is huge. You have they kind of fixed their backup situation too. They went out and they got Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod Taylor is probably an elite backup quarterback. Elite and backup quarterback aren't two words that generally go together in a sentence. But Tyrod Taylor is absolutely one of those guys. You plug and play him in any situation. He played pretty solid for an abysmal New York Giants team last season, and he was really good in Buffalo, the Chargers, the Browns. He's played well everywhere he goes. Houston. It's a he's probably the perfect backup. That's his role. He's accepted it. He knows what he's doing. He's not coming for anybody's spot. No one's starting Tyrod Taylor over their guy, unless it's Tommy DeVito or Daniel Jones. But the uh, the Jets really have had a really solid offseason, and they have their pick in the first round for the draft. They can go out and they can get a nice piece on defense to shore it up. I know that defense was also really good last season. They have some great corners, but it is it's crucial for them to finish off this strong because their offense is looking good. They fixed their biggest weakness in the offensive line. And they can be really, really good this season. We talked about their division. Obviously, they had the high flying offense of the Dolphins to go against them. And then they had with Tua and Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and the blazing fast speed of the Dolphins with A-Chain and Mostert as well. And the Bills, obviously, they've had an awful offseason. They had to cut everybody to stay below the cap because Josh Allen's contract kicked in. But it's another tough division, that AFC East. And it's tough in another way. This is more of those high-flying, explosive offenses rather than these hard-hitting, hard-nosed, you're not getting past us defenses like the AFC North is. The AFC East is just a shootout. You've got to keep pace. And the Patriots aren't there. They're not in this conversation, but having three of those teams that can do that, theoretically, is going to make for some fun football. So I'm very excited to see exactly how the season plays out for the Jets in that division. I'm not sure it's enough for them to win this division because the rest of the teams in that division are so good. But I do think that they might be competing for a wild card. Those AFC wild card spots are going to be so tough. We just went through, there's 4 teams in the AFC North that could make the playoffs. There's 3 teams in the AFC East that can make the playoffs. At least 2 of those teams are not going to make the playoffs. And then there's other divisions that could have 2 bids as well. The AFC South with the Jaguars and the Texans and the Colts. There's 2, maybe 3 of those teams that can compete for the wild card. That's the AFC is going to be brutal. And then the Chiefs and the Chargers. The Chiefs are going to run away with that division. The Chargers, I like them, but that's because I love Justin Herbert. I don't think they're quite the level of the rest of those teams that I've just rattled off. But, you just go through a list in the AFC, there's like 13 potential playoff teams, maybe less, maybe 12. I don't remember how many I just named, but a good majority of those teams are potential playoff teams. You could see it. If someone said they were the 7 seed, would you really be surprised if about 12 of the AFC teams were the 7th seed this year? It's going to be a battle to get into the playoffs, and I'm so excited for the AFC. The NFC is a little bit of a different story. They're very top heavy, but the AFC, they are very balanced. There's teams all over the place that could go off, win the division, be the 1 seed. The AFC is super unpredictable. So very excited for that. Tomorrow in our next show, we are going to do some March Madness preview because March Madness starts on Thursday, guys. It is March. The madness is here. I hope you filled out your brackets. That's what we're going to be focusing on a lot tomorrow, as well as any more breaking news that happens for the rest of the day and the beginning of the day tomorrow. Stick around, or we'll see you then. Thank you, everybody, so much for watching Sports by GSMC Podcast Network. I've been your host, Jeremy Lapidus. We'll be back same time, same place here tomorrow. You guys have a great rest of your day. I'll see you then. Bye-bye. Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah,